Sorry. Call later. Cheers. Thanks. Oh, sorry. You don't mind, do you? I don't normally smoke, honestly. It's just when I'm waiting. I'm waiting for my friend. She's late. Always late, that one. Late for her own funeral. Oh no, I've only been to one funeral, me. My grandma's. And she was 82, so it weren't really that sad. If anything, it were actually quite funny. The vicar, right? Is it a vicar? Well, whatever he were. He starts going on about how much she liked playing Monopoly and how her favourite meal were a chicken dansak from local Indian. Bit sad that, isn't it? Your whole life summed up in board games and Asian food. Well, he starts going on about how much she liked playing board games and how her last meal were a chicken dansak from local Indian. She's a bit racist and all, so she probably wouldn't have gone for curry if she'd known it was going to be her last meal. To be honest, you're a bit of a bitch, selfish. Me man hated her, but I didn't think she was that bad. And she did once meet this Muslim guy I was seeing, and the first thing she says to me is, "What do you say to a Muslim?" I'm like, "Grandma, you just say the same thing you'd say to anyone else." And then she says, "Well, I suppose when we go for a meal, I can just eat my normal food and he can eat whatever he likes." Well, you were from Bradford, so I don't know what you're on about. Oh, and then I had to laugh when they said that thing about curry. I had to laugh when they said that thing about curry. And then I nearly choked to death on a mint imperial. I know, I shouldn't have even been eating sweets. I thought we were going to be dead sad, and that, like, sucking on one might stop me from crying. Like when you go to aeroplane and they give you them to stop your ears from hurting. I know it ain't the same thing, but worth a try, isn't it? I wonder if anyone's ever died at a funeral. I suppose they must have. Best place for it though, really, isn't it? Church. And then, the coffin, it goes along on this conveyor belt like some out of generation game, and they start blasting out Frank Sinatra. I can't remember which one now. Not New York, New York, obviously. Probably something like My Way. Although, to be honest, it's the only one I can remember. I don't like to think about dying, me, but if I do die, I'd quite like it to happen at Glastonbury. Not now, when I'm older. You know, with like loads of happy people around me, having fun, drinking, dancing. Because that's life, isn't it? And I want to be where there's life. And I want to feel as alive as I possibly can, right up until the moment that I go. You know, I could just be listening to music, lie back in the grass with a can of cider in my hand, take one last look up at the clouds, close my eyes, and drift away. God, that mint imperial nearly ruined everything.
Hello, love. How was football? No, you cannot have a McDonald's. I made pasta. Well, you liked it last time I cooked it. What, the orange one? Did you give it to me to wash? Well, then it's probably under your bed. Have a look. Oh, by the way, will you feed Sergeant Pepper for me? Don't give him any biscuits, though, because he was sick yesterday. Okay.
Hey,
I'll see you soon.
sorry I'm
Bye.
late.
Bye.
Oh, it's so late.
Oh,
Where's it
sorry.
been?
Well, I went shopping, you know, everything.
Alright, what did you get?
Everything was on sale. Oh, well, I got these for summer.
Oh, very nice.
Nice,
Nice.
And, this, remember? We saw it last week.
Oh, you bought it! Oh God, it was so expensive. Is it worth it?
Well, you know, it was on sale. I mean, it's nearly my birthday anyway. And this. I'm very excited about this. Got myself a book. Yeah. Tolstoy. It's a big deal.
It's a big book. What's it called?
Anna Karenina.
Anna Karenina. I did not think that was on telly the other night.
Really?
Yeah, I think I watched it. It's dead sad, you know.
Well,
kills herself at the end.
What? Thank you. Thank you for timing. Now I have to return the bell.
Oh, sorry.
Always good.
Sorry. Sorry. Oh, it's just because you're so sensitive. No, I don't want you to get upset, that's all. Sorry.
I didn't used to think about death at all. I mean, you don't when you're 17, do you? Obviously, I knew what it was, but somehow it didn't go in or mean anything deeper to me. I used to think there was something wrong with me because you get all these student nurses who were just a few years older than me, and it was a really big deal to them the first time they dealt with dead bodies. I would think, what's wrong with you? No one talked about it. You just swept it aside. The patients who were living were the priority, which makes sense in a way. At the hospice, everything was about death. Everyone was dying. I remember a patient there. One morning she suddenly broke down. She started screaming and crying. She told me she was in an abusive relationship. He got ill, and she had stayed with him, looking after him. Every day that went by, she was waiting for him to die so she could start her life again. Then she got diagnosed with a terminal illness, and she found out she was going to die before him. A few weeks later, I woke up craving for some mint chocolate chip ice cream. I got up, dressed, and left the house to go to the newsagent down the road. When I got outside, everything was still dark and very quiet. I then realized that it was only 4 in the morning. Shit, I thought, how am I gonna get the ice cream? The newsagent won't be open. But then I remembered there was a 24-hour garage about a mile away, so I started walking. What I really wanted was a tub, but if I could get a cornetto or something, that would probably do. After about 5 minutes, I noticed a bright light somewhere in the distance, gradually making its way closer to me. I looked down on my feet and realized I was running, so I stopped. When I looked up again, the light had split into 2 round pools, and it suddenly dawned on me that they were car headlights. I was in the middle of the road, and a car was coming towards me. For a second, I thought about staying there. The image of my body hitting the car and flying over the windscreen like a ragdoll flashed through my mind. I could just stay here, I thought. But then I remembered how much I wanted the ice cream, and I stepped onto the pavement. Dead bodies don't look like in the movies. People don't look like themselves. Almost the very moment they die, they change. I understand why people say they can see the soul leaving or the light going out of the eyes, because it really looks like that. One minute it's a person, and the next it's a body. What happens in that exact moment?
Please, there's no need to be afraid.
You should come at a different time.
I just wish to make a friendly visit. sit next to me?
No.
Why have you refused to see me?
I don't believe in God.
Are you absolutely sure of that?
It's not a matter of question. It's of no importance to me.
People sometimes think they are sure, but when it really comes down to it, they're not. What do you think about that idea?
I suppose so, but even if I'm not sure about what truly interests me, I am sure what doesn't interest me. And what you're talking about definitely doesn't interest me.
Is it your despair that makes you talk like this?
I'm not in despair. I'm afraid, which is completely natural.
God help you then. Everyone I have known in your situation has come back to him.
Well, that's their right to do so, but I don't want anyone's help. And I hardly have time to waste thinking about things that don't interest me.
My friend, I do not talk to you like this because you have been condemned to death. In my opinion, we are all condemned to death. But because...
It's not the same thing! And it's definitely no consolation.
But of course. But you will still die. At some point, if not today, you must face death. How will you deal with this terrible trial?
Exactly the same way that I'm dealing with it now.
Is there no hope whatsoever? Do you really believe there is nothing after death?
Yes!
I pity you then. It must be unbearable to live with such a belief. Will you let me embrace you?
No.
You love this life so much then, hmm? I do not believe so. I think you have sometimes wished for another life.
Of course I have. But I might as well have wished to be rich, or to be a fast swimmer, or to have a more beautifully shaped mouth.
How do you imagine this other life?
A life that reminds me of this one. Please leave. I had enough.
I would like to stay a while longer.
Look, sir. Please. Please understand me. I have very little time left, and I don't want to waste it thinking on God.
Why do you call me sir and not father?
You're not my father! You might be to others, but not to me.
No. I am here for you, son. But you refuse to understand because your heart is blind. I will pray for you.
Fuck you! I don't want your fucking prayers. Your certainties mean nothing to me. You don't even know you're alive. You live like you're already dead. At least I have a hold on the truth. What difference does it make how I live my life? If I had made different decisions, nothing matters. Nothing matters. I know very well it's true, and so do you. Why should I care about your God? Huh? The lives, the destinies we choose, when one unique destiny has chosen me, and like me, millions of others. Do you not understand that? We are all privileged. There's no one here that is not privileged. And we all condemned to death. And so do you! You too are condemned to death.
impossible dream to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow. Death goes to ride the unbreakable, to love.
I used to work for the fire brigade. Get called out to all sorts. It's not just fires. You get some idiots. Once, this guy calls in because his doorbell's broken and he can't get it to stop ringing. We had to go to suicides as well. No one thinks about that, but who else is going to do it? Here's a funny story. We was on top of this building trying to talk this man out of killing himself. And I was trying to pull him away from the edge. So we're speaking to him for a bit, and I get close enough to pull him away. So I made a grab for his arm, but there was nothing there. We couldn't see because it was dark, but he only had one arm. Suicide. That's something I'll never understand. We had to pick the bodies off the tracks too. Makes a right mess of you. People don't realise. They think you just jump and that's it. But there's 150 volts running through them lines. And you get all cut up when the train goes over you. I had someone who's jumped in and lost a leg and he's pleaded with me to get him out. And you think, well, you put yourself there, mate. Then you've got to crawl under the tracks and try and get him out. It don't make sense to me. No, I know it don't work like that, though. When I got told I had cancer, I thought, that's it, I'm going to die. I didn't know much about it then, I just knew it weren't good. You hear the word cancer and you think death, don't you? At least I used to. I started thinking I wouldn't be here when they landed on Mars. That was a real choker. And my sons, I wouldn't see if they became successful or not. The way I found out as well.
Excuse me. I have an appointment at 2 o'clock to see Dr. Roberts, and we've been here for an hour and no one's called us up.
Okay. What's your name?
Well, actually, it's for my husband, Pete Battersby.
Okay. Well, sorry, but he's not with him.
What? That's ridiculous. We've just come up from the receptionist, having spoken to her, and she sent us up.
Right. Okay. Why don't you have a seat and I'll find out for you. Here. Yeah, sir, you do have an appointment, but it's not with Dr. Roberts, it's with Dr. Malik, the cancer specialist.
All the time there was this shadow of death hanging over me. But then, after about 6 months, it cleared. And I felt, yeah, liberated. It frees you. I realised I am who I am, and there's no point pretending to be anyone else. You see, I don't think anyone really believes they're going to die till it happens to them. I didn't.
Something about being human. A defence mechanism, maybe. Makes you pretend it ain't going to happen.
The next train to leave from platform 1 will arrive in 1 minute. Please stand back from the platform edge.